I am not merely touching that flower, I am touching infinity. Dr. George Washington Carver, and I want to give him his flowers. He was the father of the modern organic farming movement. And when you think of permaculture, this is from this thought leader's brilliant mind. I was so happy to stumble upon this rather rare footage because Dr. George Washington Carver rarely wanted to be filmed or photographed. This was filmed while Dr. George Washington Carver was at home in his living quarters on the campus of Tuskegee Institute, now Tuskegee University, in Tuskegee, Alabama. You can imagine my surprise when I saw this man crocheting. It is so amazing to me. And listen, I'm going to say this, okay? This is my family right here. If it isn't, I tell you, you're going to have to sue me because I'm claiming him. He looks just like my father's side of the family. He looks like my father, his brothers, and my great-grandmother. It's remarkable. His backstory is really heartbreaking. He was, they say, born into slavery. Now, we have to look into what that really means, born into slavery, because it doesn't mean what we have been taught. Now, this happened during the Civil War. To me, I would say a prisoner of war. And the exact year that he was born, they say, is a mystery. And his mother was kidnapped by Confederate slave raiders, and his father was unalived. So basically, he was human trafficked, him and his mother. So he was separated from his mother and grew up in many different houses in Missouri. He was schooled in Kansas. He exhibited natural gifts in botany, gardening, herbal medicine, and experimented with organic pesticides and fertilizers. He became renowned for curing sick crops and houseplants, earning the nickname the Plant Doctor. He attended Iowa State Agricultural School, earning a master's in agriculture in 1896. Now, that's interesting to earn a master's in the 1800s. Booker T. Washington, another relative, was so impressed with the young George Washington Carver and his research on fungal infections and soybeans that he invited him to become a professor and start up the agricultural school at Tuskegee, where he became a very beloved professor. He identified that the cotton crops were overproduced, causing soil depletion, and his prescription as the plant doctor was to rotate nitrogen-rich crops of peanuts, cowpeas, and sweet potatoes that would reinvigorate the land. Dr. George Washington Carver went on to work for food justice, food sovereignty, and to help farmers to increase their yields and diversify their food supply, leading to a surplus, gleanings. I just love the word gleanings, and that is what I pray to Yah, that I will grow so much that I will have gleanings. So, as we know, whoever controls the food controls the people. And this was one of the most inspiring things that I learned about my family member, Dr. George Washington Carver. You can call me Delulu, I don't care. Listen, he sought Yah daily for guidance, and he walked before the Lord every day at dawn. He walked in the woods, they said, and that's how he received his knowledge, because we know that wisdom and knowledge begins with Yah. He was so generous and taught farmers how to nourish the earth and themselves. He taught holistic restorative farming, and he hosted free seminars at the Institute. He wrote bulletins filled with advice and recipes, as well as designed a mobile classroom called the Jessup Agricultural Wagon, offering hands-on demonstrations. He and his team sought out farms that were in need of help, and they did things like fixed fences, they planted crops, and cared for animals. Dr. George Washington Carver understood that agriculture and ecology were inseparable, and the land needs diversity to thrive. He also advocated for woodland preservation as a way of improving topsoil. These are just some of the many reasons Dr. George Washington Carver should get his flowers for standing at the vanguard of the early conservation movement, contributing to its bedrock philosophies. His connection to nature went beyond scientific to the spiritual, and he communicated with the natural world as a child and throughout his life because he sought out the Most High Yah. The legacy of Dr. George Washington Carver has been relegated to a narrative that might not be altogether true, like inventing peanut butter. What he did was so much more. As I have even learned to grow using permaculture, now I know that this came from the brilliant mind of Dr. George Washington Carver. And he fought for things that were so noble: food justice and food sovereignty. And he believed in abundance, a cornucopia, gleanings, and that everybody should have food sovereignty.